I and others have recommended is get these GSEs on the track to going out of business as quickly as possible. Their track record is outrageous. And the second thing, let's not give millions of dollars in bonuses to people that are betting against the homeowners of America. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Senator from Vermont.
Mr. President, I will shortly be offering as an amendment to the substitute to be on behalf of myself and Senator John Cornyn, I would ask consent in a moment to suggest the absence of a quorum, but upon the dissipating of the quorum, that I be recognized for up to 3 minutes.
Without objection, the clerk, is there objection? So ordered.
I suggest the absence of quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
President.
Senator from Vermont.
I ask consent to call the quorum be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I'm soon going to offer an amendment to the substitute. I'm going to offer it on behalf of myself and Senator Cornyn. I hear senators saying that with the public's opinion of Congress at a low point, we need to take action to restore public confidence. I think our amendment does that. It closes loopholes in the laws that have allowed corruption to escape accountability. I believe we have to provide investigators and prosecutors the tools they need to hold officials at all levels of government accountable when they act corruptly. This amendment, and it reflects a bipartisan, bicameral agreement, will strengthen and clarify key aspects of federal criminal law to help investigators and prosecutors attack public corruption nationwide. And I should note, Mr. President, the Senate Judiciary Committee has reported this bill with bipartisan support in 3 successive Congresses. And I would note that the House Judiciary Committee, under a Republican chairman, recently reported a companion bill and did so unanimously. Every Republican, every Democrat voted for it. So I believe it's time for Congress to pass serious anti-corruption legislation. We've demonstrated that this is something that can bring both Republicans and Democrats together, and we ought to pass it. You know, public corruption erodes the trust the American people have in those who are given the privilege, it is a privilege, of public service. And too often loopholes in existing laws have meant that corrupt conduct can go unchecked. And the stain of corruption spread to all levels of government that victimizes every American by chipping away at the foundations of our democracy. The amendment, I believe, will help to restore confidence in government by rooting out criminal corruption. It includes a fix to reverse a major step backward in the fight against fraud and corruption. In Skilling versus United States, the Supreme Court sided with a former executive from Enron. It greatly narrowed the honest services fraud statute, a law that has actually been used for decades in both Republican and Democratic administrations as a crucial weapon to combat public corruption and self-dealing. Unfortunately, whether intended or not, the Court's decision leaves corrupt conduct unchecked. Most notably, the Court's decision will leave open the opportunity for state and federal public officials to secretly act in their own financial self-interest rather than in the interest of the public. The amendment that Senator Cornyn and I have put together would close this gaping hole in our anti-corruption laws. It includes several other provisions designed to tighten existing law. It fixes the gratuity statute to make clear that while the vast majority of public officials are honest, those who are not cannot be bought. It reaffirms that public officials may not accept anything worth more than $1,000 other than what is permitted by existing rules and regulations given their official positions. It also appropriately clarifies the definition of what it means for a public official to perform an official act under the bribery statute. It will increase sentences for serious corruption offenses. It will provide investigators and prosecutors more time to pursue these challenging and complex cases. It amends several key statutes to clarify their application in corruption cases to prevent corrupt public officials and their accomplices from evading prosecution based on legal ambiguities. So if we're serious about addressing the kinds of egregious misconduct that we've seen in some of these high-profile corruption cases, then let's enact meaningful legislation. Let's give investigators and prosecutors the tools they need to enforce the law. It's one thing to have the law in the books, another thing to have the tools to enforce it. So I hope that this bipartisan amendment will be adopted. And, Mr. President, I suggest the absent quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
Vermont.
President, I consent to call the quorum be dispensed with.
Without a
And, Mr. President, I send to the desk an amendment to the substitute proposed by myself and Senator Cornyn, and ask to be appropriately.
Without objection, the pending amendments are set aside. Clerk will report.
Senator from Vermont, Mr. Leahy, for himself and Mr. Cornyn, proposes an amendment numbered 1483 to amendment numbered 1470.
And I ask consent further reading be dispensed with. I thank the chair, and I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
The senator from Maine.
Mr. President, I know of no other speakers who plan to come to the floor before we are scheduled under the previous order to recess at 12:30. So I would suggest that we might want to move up the recess time by a couple of moments.
Good suggestion. Under the previous order, the Senate will stand in recess until 2:15 p.m.
Well, as you heard, lawmakers are taking a break now as the Senate goes into recess. Senators will be attending their weekly party caucus lunches, and they'll be back at 2:15 Eastern. At that time, we expect more work on the Stock Act, which aims to ban